Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. Behind me you can see a bunch of Toronto police cars and a police bus and police blockades, because over there is the so-called March with Israel. And I call it so-called because, of course, tens of thousands of people are marching with Israel and marching against anti-Semitism. But as you can see, about 100 anti-Semitic hate marchers, pro-Hamas activists, have decided to position themselves at a choke point on Bathurst and Shepherd. Now, police knew that there would be counter-protesters, so they had a way to sort of separate the two camps, but the pro-Hamas side simply ignored that and came out en masse along the route here, and police, instead of moving the Hamas protesters, decided to escort them, to assist them, and to create a choke point where Bathurst, which is normally 4 lanes wide, they narrowed it to 2 lanes and created a choke point where Jews had to pass through a narrow corridor with pro-Hamas anti-Semitic hate being shouted at them by a PA system on both sides. I tried to ask different police officers why they would do that, why they would force Jews to walk through a gauntlet. Now, there's tens of thousands of Jews and only, frankly, about 100 of these pro-Hamas hate mongers. But still, what's the police thinking there? Why would you allow Hamas protesters right into the heart of the Jewish community and actually assist them? That's the part that's so crazy. By the way, you can see on the top of the building there a sniper. Why would there be a sniper? Well, obviously, because you're dealing with pro-Hamas activists, and there was a murder by a pro-Hamas activist just last week in Washington, D.C. And what pleases me about this event is that there's tens of thousands of people, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, who are defying Hamas and are here nonetheless. Now, amongst that crowd, you will not find, unless something has happened in the last few minutes of which I'm unaware, you will not find the mayor. You will not find the premier. You will not find the prime minister. A generation ago, this march, which has been going on for about 50 years, would be a must-see event, must-see and be seen event for any political leader in the Greater Toronto area, because there's about 200,000 Jews in Toronto, and they've been quite prominent in this city's past. Mayor Mel Lastman, just to give one example. All the universities and hospitals are sponsored by Jewish philanthropists. Jews have had a very easy and happy life here for about a century, some much longer than that. But mass immigration has changed everything. I interviewed some of the Hamas protesters before police shoved me away, and about 95% of them are foreign nationals. We have brought into our neighborhoods, we have brought into our country thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't want to say a million, but hundreds of thousands of people who hate the Jews and frankly who hate Canada. And the thing is, the mayor can count. And it's the same thing Justin Trudeau did, it's the same thing Mark Carney did, they can count. And they like the Jews, and the Jews are good for donations, but when it comes to election time, there's about 5 times as many Muslims in Canada as there are Jews. And the politicians are showing it. That's why they support Hamas at the United Nations and give Canadian tax dollars to the Hamas front groups. It's a shame, but so far at least, these Jews here are not bending the knee. I'll have a full report tomorrow at rebelnews.com, but I just wanted to show you what's going on right now. Of course, our billboard truck is in the thick of the action. I'll show you that a little bit later too. Thanks for your support.